Hi guys! Today I wanted to take you along as I build a little obstacle course for the ponies and also discover exactly why having an arena fence is a very good idea, but more on that later. It had been a little while since I took both of the horses out for a walk. I've just been really busy at work, so today I took them out on the trail and I was planning on riding MOONPIE, and Apache was just coming along with us. I like to reward them with treats when they follow along nicely, because I'm just no good at ponying them. So the one time I tried to pony MOONPIE, I almost got pulled out of the saddle, so I do like to train them to stay with me, and here MOONPIE is just having a little bit of a scratch. I don't think that tree is ever going to grow up tall because he is just determined. It's just the right belly height for him. I took them around and kind of took it easy at first because they hadn't been out in a while, just letting them graze a little bit and stretch their legs and enjoy the day, and it was actually quite windy on this day, so you'll see that probably was part of the trouble here because both of them got a little bit nervous by the time we got down to the arena, but I just wanted to let them relax a little bit and, you know, get used to walking out around on the trails with me since it had been a little while since we went out together. I didn't want to just hop on MOONPIE, especially since he's only 5 years old, and put a lot of pressure on him. He's had a little issue lately with bolting occasionally, and that's something that's more of a recent acquire for him that he's picked up, but we're trying to work him out of it. And again, you know, a great idea for the arena fence. Definitely that is my next to-do project, and I'm going to try to do that on a budget, so I'll take you guys along with me and just show you what materials I end up using to build my arena fence on a budget. But for now, we'll take the ponies down on the trails. Oh, I found a little orange for MOONPIE. It had somehow made it all the way down the hill from the orange trees at the top of the hill. I guess it just rolled down, and he definitely did not mind having a little orange snack on the way, so he was quite happy to get out and about in the sunshine. The ponies have been pretty funny lately. Last year they would eat the fallen oranges that fell off the tree, but this year they have decided to start early, and they actually have been taking oranges direct from my dad's favorite orange tree. They've just been nibbling them right off of the tree. They're the only ones allowed to do that, and hopefully the tree is not bare by the time they're ripe enough for humans to eat. They're still a little bit tart right now, but the ponies don't really seem to mind. I like how Apache likes to stay by our side. He definitely has a little bit of separation anxiety issues, so he does not like to wander far away from MOONPIE, but hey, it works if I want to take both the horses out at once and I don't really need to have to watch him because he'll just come along quite nicely. He is the more dominant horse, so he does try to lead sometimes, and sometimes it can be a little bit of an issue if he wants to like go left and we want to go right. But I'm working on getting MOONPIE just listening to me instead of trying to follow the leader with Apache. And I just thought also this little patch of wildflowers was really beautiful, and I wanted to show you guys. This is at the far end of what we're currently using for an arena, which is basically just flat dirt. It's still in the process of being built out. I left the ponies to their own devices while I set up my little obstacle course here, and I wanted to use a tarp to simulate water, and also put down some poles and rocks and things to kind of weight down the edges of the tarp because I really did not want any of the horses' hooves getting stuck in the tarp and making them panic. This was supposed to be just kind of an easy exercise to get them a little bit desensitized to things. MOONPIE has played with a tarp before, but it was a black one, so you know, horses, they don't really generalize things out. A blue tarp is a completely different animal from a black tarp, so I just wanted to give him plenty of time to get used to it. And here I'm just starting by leading him around on the ground, just kind of getting him used to it. MOONPIE was actually born and bred in the desert, so I really don't think he's seen a lot of water in his life. He really does not even like getting baths. And the other day the creek was actually full from the winter, you know, all the rain, and I don't think he had ever heard the creek going at our place before. We don't have direct access to it, but we can hear the creek running along, and he was definitely a little bit curious and a little bit nervous about the creek, so I really wanted to get him more used to these kind of water simulations. And here Apache has decided to join in on the fun and see what we're doing. They both have learned that stepping over poles gets them treats. So you can see Apache here being a very good boy and following along. He didn't quite work up the courage to get on the tarp, but he did want to be involved in the project somehow. So he's just hanging around and trying to figure out how he is going to get a treat, which is kind of hilarious. Oh, and here he got on the tarp. Okay, so finally he has decided to be bold, and then he had enough and he went to go eat some grass and just left us to it. This is where the trouble kind of started. You can see Apache is getting a little bit feisty, and also it was kind of getting windy, and I think he was getting bored and he wanted to go back up to the top. So that's part of the problem with leaving a more dominant horse loose, is he does like to kind of push and try to get his way, which is another reason why I want to eventually fence this whole arena area off down on the bottom. So I'm getting on to MOONPIE, and I just wanted to walk him around the obstacle course and kind of have an easy day for him, but he had other plans. I do run him quite frequently down here at the bottom, so I think he was getting a little bit mentally prepared to run, and also it was a little bit windy, and also Apache was kind of running around and making noise and disappearing, and he's taking off. He is taking off up the hill. That's a little bolting issue we have to work on. You can see Apache here. He is just not helping the situation. Apache has way too much energy. It's a little bit funnier now than it was at the time, but I decided to just get off and hand walk him around a little bit more because he didn't really seem that comfortable. So I wanted to make sure that none of the new stuff was bothering him, and I think you could see in the background Apache just like going crazy and running around, and I think that was definitely bothering MOONPIE a lot more than anything else here on the ground, because he really did not care about these obstacles much at all. Here he was being a little bit better, and then again Apache is like running around in the background. You can't really see him, but MOONPIE definitely did, and he wanted to go join him. So we're also working on that, just getting him to listen more to me and not to whatever Apache is doing. Here he's kind of bolting again, and he's taking off toward where Apache disappeared up the hill. And I'm bringing him back down. Here I decided to do some groundwork, just getting him to run a little bit with me and then stop and work on backing up and just kind of listening to me more on the ground to get his attention focused back on me instead of on Apache. And again, he's doing really great with the poles and the obstacles here. It's just more an issue of his attention span and getting his attention focused back on me. So we did a lot of groundwork just to make sure that he was super comfortable here, and I was quite impressed with him on the ground, so I decided to get back on again. It's like take 4, I think, and you can see how that went, and here is an instant replay in slow motion. So I decided to do a little lunging, and we're back. I am getting on MOONPIE, and you can see his attention just left me because Apache was screaming for him in the background, but this time he was really good. He listened to me, so I got off right away to reward him. He did not try to take off. I gave him a little snack, and then I got back on. And here is actually kind of funny. I noticed his little chin strap on his bitless bridle was crooked, so I adjusted it for him, and MOONPIE is kind of used to all my weird shenanigans, so it didn't bother him that I was leaning over his neck, and I do want to just get him comfortable with all kinds of weird things from his back. And then the first thing I asked him to do was actually back up, because I want him thinking backward instead of forward, since he'd been bolting a little bit with me today. And then we just worked on his turning and just walking nice and slow. I've actually sped it up a little bit for you guys to 2 times the speed, just because he was walking very slow in his little drafty cob mode. Draft horses do like to plod along, but that was perfectly okay with me after the bolting incident that day. So after he gave me one very nice walk through the obstacle course, I decided to call it a day down at the bottom. Then we caught up to Apache, who had been very impatiently waiting for us, and he's taking a little run up the driveway. I'm just kind of letting him run out of steam at this point, because I know on the hill MOONPIE gets very tired very quickly, so that's sort of letting him figure out on his own that running uphill is not the most fun behavior. He's definitely a little tired. You can hear in the background him panting quite hard, so definitely I wore him out with today's lesson a little bit, but that's fine. He's still learning. And then Apache is just taking off again. Apache wants to go home, and it's actually kind of funny because he continued on to the left, but I did not want to go that way because I wanted MOONPIE to just take his time going really slowly up the paved road. The pavement does seem to slow him down a little bit, so it just encourages him to walk. I don't really have to continuously hold him back from going fast, because I also don't want to train him to always be like pulling against me trying to go faster, so that's why I let the driveway kind of help me along there. And here MOONPIE goes to the right. Even though Apache went off to the left, he was very good here with listening to my instructions, and he was okay going off on his own as well. As we get closer to the top, we see there's like a little truck up in the upper left-hand corner. And there were also a lot of like truck noises from behind us that day from the road. But MOONPIE, at this point, I think he was quite tired, so he didn't really care so much about the truck and the people. And he was just taking it easy on his walk back home. Here's the orange trees where that orange had fallen from earlier. We're just going all the way back up to the top of the hill, where the ponies live most of the time, even though they do go free range around. But of course they needed a little snack and a little rest after their day out. And Mooney's just taking a little drink before he goes back up to the top, and then you can hear an ATV starts revving, so he gets a little bit nervous here. Easy buddy. At this point, he's very good about listening, and so I'm able to just encourage him to walk forward with no problem. And actually, he was quite sweaty at this point, so a little bit of sweat had gotten into his eyes. But fortunately, we were done for the day, so I just hopped off. I gave him a little bit of a bath, and then I turned him loose to enjoy the rest of his day. Apache had finally caught up to us, and you can see he wore himself out running around on the hill looking for us. And MOONPIE, I don't even know what he's doing here. He is just rubbing his butt on the gate, but it was really funny because he kept bumping the gate into Apache. Apache is just taking a little drink because, again, he's exhausted from running all around looking for us because he couldn't figure out we were up at the top without him, so that was a little bit funny. But I'm just washing off MOONPIE's very sweaty saddle pad, and also his bridle. Everything was just covered in horse sweat. It was kind of a warm day too. And then I just let the ponies go off and graze a little bit and enjoy themselves. We all learned a lesson today. I'm going to be figuring out how to do my arena fence on a budget. So if you guys would like to see any materials or process for that, be sure to follow us here at Painted Horse Hill. Thank you for joining us today. We'll see you guys again very soon. Bye-bye.